In today's world, just about every move and every decision you make can be tracked, predicted, monetized, and exploited. So how do you maintain your privacy and free will? That's what we're going to take a look at today. Coming up. Hi, I'm Kris Dillard, and on this channel, we're here to prove that when you quiet your mind, your true power emerges, bringing you happiness, awareness, and massive, massive success. So hit that subscribe button if you want a proven, practical way of realizing this power inside of you right now. And today, we're going to take a look at protecting your privacy. There's been a lot of talk about this lately with Facebook and the new GDPR regulations coming out of Europe. And let's face it, it's crazy how our every move can be tracked, from cell phones to computers to cameras everywhere. Plus everything we do on social media, not just what we share, but just what we look at. All this data is constantly logged and crunched. And based off of this data, predictions can be made very accurately about what decisions we're likely to make in the future and how we can be triggered. So this can be used to influence, take advantage of, and even manipulate us. Pretty scary. But should we really worry about this stuff? I say no. And here's why. All this information is based on our tendencies, our habits. It really only works because our behavior runs automatically. Now you might say, I'm a free thinker. I make my own decisions. Well, let me ask you this. Do you ever worry? Do you ever procrastinate? Do you ever get lost in thought? Do you ever beat yourself up when things don't go your way? Do you ever get frustrated? See, these habits right here show us how lost we get in our own mental programs. Because none of us would do these things because these things don't help. They don't feel good. And we wouldn't consciously do them if we were truly in control over our thinking. So, before we worry about what's going on out there and what others are doing to us, we need to focus on what's going on in here. Because it's your own mind that's the biggest manipulator of all. Without your mind and ego, which runs only on automatic, you can never be taken advantage of. Because when you identify with your beingness only, when you get into a desireless state where you have no attachments and no aversions, when your mind is still and quiet, how could you possibly be manipulated? Clean up your thinking, quiet your mind, and you will be untouchable. Let me show you. Now just take a look at a part of your life that you would like to be kept private. Could be the people that you hang out with, could be your shopping habits, could be some deeper preferences you have. Now right now, as you look at this, it's only a picture in your mind, which means the whole thing isn't even real. Turn off your mind, the whole picture goes away. What makes it seem real is the feelings you have about it. Maybe you want to keep it secret because of what others may think. Maybe they'll judge you. Maybe you don't want others to use that information against you. But right now, the whole thing is only going on in your mind. And who's watching that story right now? Notice that. See, right now, there's the story. And then there's you who's watching it. This silent presence. This part of you has no form. It has no name, has no beginning and no end. And it's not that story in your mind. It's something very different. All that mind is just a machine. It's a recording and playback machine. And when you have problems, fears, and frustrations, your mind keeps playing that stuff back to you over and over again. It doesn't erase that garbage. Now, where you can erase it, though, is in your stomach or chest. Check this out. Just think about that situation. And think about somebody actually using your secret against you, turning it against you. And when you think about that, just notice your feeling in your stomach or chest. Notice if there's like a gripping, clenching, clutching sensation. Now that's showing you that you're suppressing your feelings about it. And you're pushing down your fear, you're pushing down this feeling of maybe feeling out of control about your life, if that were to ever happen. And notice it's a very uncomfortable feeling. But it's you pushing down your feelings. So try this out. Open up an imaginary window or door, wherever you feel that sensation in your stomach or chest. Just open up an imaginary door and see that as just energy. And watch that energy. Imagine it moving right on out the door. And just watch it leave. It's just energy. Imagine it going right on out the door. And even more. 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 And see if you have some fear about it. Now, just rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 being the most fearful, and 0 being the least fearful, and see where you're at. Now, whenever you have fear, again, just like the rest of us, there's this automatic tendency to want to push that fear down, to not want to have to deal with it. And it doesn't feel good, so we suppress it. But that doesn't make the fear go away. And it doesn't make any problems go away by suppressing the fear. And it feels lousy. So notice that tendency to want to say no to the fear when you have fear. And when you say no to the fear, does that make the fear go away? No. So let's do something different here. Look at that fear. Wherever it is on that scale of 0 to 10. Can you say yes to that fear? So you can let that fear go. Try it out. And could you say yes to that fear even more? And could you say yes to that fear even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. And even more. And could you say yes to the fear even more? And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel. And see if you moved on that scale of 0 to 10. See if you're lower on it now. All right? Notice the difference? Now, just invite up the rest of that fear and let that fear go. Just allow it to leave. Let go pushing down on the rest of it. So you got some of it moving now. You move down the scale. So let's take advantage of this momentum. Just allow the rest of your fear to come up and just open up that door and allow it to pass through. And allow it to pass through even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel now. See if you feel lighter, freer, more at ease now. And see, notice this is putting you back into a powerful position. Now, let's take a look at maybe feeling out of control with your information and who knows what about you, right? And on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being the most out of control feeling about the situation, and 0 being the least, totally in control. Just see where you are on that scale now. And again, we feel out of control. We want to try to change it. We want to do something about it. We don't like the feeling. And we don't really welcome it up. In fact, we say no to that out of control feeling, right? And does that put us in control? No. We just get more freaked out and we just spiral down and down and down. All right, so again, let's do something different. Take a look at that feeling of being out of control. And can you just say yes to it? Watch what happens. You say yes to that out of control feeling. And could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. 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 And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel. See if you feel calmer and quieter and more in control. And just notice where you are on that scale of 0 to 10. See where you are now. That just shows you how you've moved. And it shows you a whole different way to deal with these feelings rather than pretending that they're not there, rather than fighting with them, battling with them day in and day out. Enough's enough with that. Just let them go. And right away, you put yourself in charge. You put yourself in power. Now, let's talk about really being in power. I mentioned before about being desireless, having no attachment, no aversion. See, if you're desireless, who can manipulate you? Who could control you if you had no wanting going on? And especially in this realm of data privacy and so on. See, just take a look at how this works with online advertising. Banners and ads and all that stuff. See, when you go online and you look at something, like you look at a shirt, you go, oh, that's kind of a nice shirt. Maybe I'll get it, maybe not. I'll maybe check it out later. And you go on. What happens like the next couple of weeks? Like every web page you go to almost shows you that shirt. Hey, check this out. Don't you want to get this? Hey, new price. Get it now. And so on, right? Now, that is a way of influencing you based on your habits and based on what it is that you're doing. But here's the thing. Your own mind is doing that. You don't even need someone online to push that on you. When you take a look at something and you don't decide whether to get it or not, you continue thinking about it, right? And maybe you go and you read reviews about it, you study about it, you watch videos on others who have that and, learn what they're doing with it and all that stuff. And you think about it, should I get it, should I not get it? Notice all that stuff is just going around and around and around in your mind. So you don't even need somebody else pushing you. Your own mind is pushing you. And that's your own desire pushing on you. And as long as you have desire, you don't have free will. Because just notice, those same thoughts just spin around again and again in your mind. See, let's just take a look at the nature of wanting. Take a look at something that you want and something that you've been wanting for a long time in your life. It could be a new car, a new house, a new job, new position in life, or it could just be something as simple as like a watch or a camera or something. You've been wanting it for a while. Now here's the nature of wanting, and this is how you get manipulated. See, the nature of that wanting is a belief that once you attain that thing, you get that car, you get that new job, that new position, then you'll be happy. You see that? It's looking for happiness, and that desires fulfillment. And that's how you get manipulated. If you had no wanting, you couldn't be manipulated. Plus, also, that wanting is literally pushing that thing away. That wanting for it is actually the obstacle of having it. All right, so check this out. I'm going to show you how to let go of the wanting so you can have the thing and you have free will. You can do whatever you want when you become desireless. All right, so just think about that thing that you want. Now the want for it, that you're wanting it, that's your decision. It's like a choice. And because you're making that choice, you're the boss here. You're in charge. And you can decide now to just let that wanting go. Just right now in this moment. Try it out, see how it feels. And just let that want for it go a little bit more. And let go of wanting it. Just right now in this moment. And let that wanting go even more. And 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 even more. Just right now, let go of wanting it entirely. Now in this moment. It's just a decision. Just decide yes. Just now in this moment. Don't worry about next moment. If this doesn't work out for you, you can always go back to wanting it. Just right now, just drop the want. And notice how you feel. See if you feel lighter and more powerful and quieter and more present now. And see if it feels more possible to have it. Just notice how you feel about it. Is it more easy to have it now than it was a few moments ago? Just notice how that feels. And notice how all this wanting is going on in the mind. It's going on in thinking. It's going on in that noise in your head. But again, who's watching it? Who's here to observe that there's noise happening in your mind in the first place, right now? You're watching it, right? And again, this part of you has no name, has no form, but it's very present. You're here, aren't you? Now just let that mind go quiet. And just allow that mind to go quiet. An easy way to do that is just pay attention to now. Like right now, focus on your breath. Just watch your breath, observe it. Breathing in and breathing out. And just notice all the sensations as you observe your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And just notice doing that. Get your mind quieter. Now just let your mind get even quieter. In fact, get a picture of your mind, whatever that looks like to you. And imagine that picture, whatever you're looking at. Imagine it evaporating and dissolving. And imagine it evaporating and dissolving even more. And allow your mind to evaporate and dissolve even more. And even more. And notice, the quieter you get, the nicer it feels. You know what that feeling is? That's the real you that's showing up. The unlimited you. The you that exists beyond the mind, beyond the world. And the more you identify with this part of you, instead of identifying with the mind and all those stories and problems, you discover the whole world is your picture. The whole world is part of you. And if that's the case, what do you need to be separate from? What do you need to keep secret if it's just you out there? See, this is starting to discover the power of who you are. When you're in touch with this, nothing can manipulate you. You're in charge, and you don't have to worry about any of this nonsense that's going on in the world. You can live your life exactly how you choose. You're the boss. So keep playing with this. And keep looking to identify with that part of you that's not the mind. It's not the body. It's none of this desires and preferences, attachments, aversions to things that go on in the world. Just your still, silent presence. That's awesome. So keep this up and stay tuned to this channel, because everything we do is about this, about presence and beingness. I'll see you later.